can dump any type of injection in this parameter. So yes, it is vulnerable to cross-site scripting. Pen testing, all right, it all depends on your knowledge out there of what, how to do a cross-site scripting, how to do a cross-site request forgery, and a response split, all those different types of attacks. A lot of people, like for cross-site scripting, they'll go and use Arsenic's reference guide, all right? Injection flaws, okay? All right, injection flaws. App scanners, they need a lot of improvement on SQL injections. This is probably the largest false positive you'll find in an app scanner is, on SQL injections. Can they actually perform them? Most of the times, it's just code that's written to do a redirect. It's all based on your HTTP response code, okay? They'll tell you they have all the support for AJAX and Web 2.0. No, they really don't. The other thing is no command injection. So if you're trying to do a command injection through an app scanner, it's not going to happen. Can anyone tell me why? Anyone know why, since we have so many pen testers? Most of the times it's because you're doing an outside app assessment, and it all has to do with the natting of IP addresses is one reason. Other reasons, maybe they don't have the best coders. The automated code scanners, all right? I was talking with Dennis Cruz about this one yesterday. He's showing me how great the new Ounce tool is, and I have to say it kind of impressed me. And I said, you know what? Everybody here would love if you put a fuzzer into this code scanner, all right? Here you got Ounce with their code scanner. If you threw a fuzzer in there and knew all the different types of attacks you could do with the parameter, it's a lot more effective.
You're talking about something other than code analysis?
No, actually it would, because what you're looking for code, so it all depends on what you're looking for in the code analysis, okay? Are you looking for particular parameters that can go through? Are you looking for, are you looking for, a max length, this, that, the other thing? It makes it a lot more effective.
Yeah, but still, static analysis is about analyzing the code. You never run the code. It might not even be built. So it might be impossible to fuzz it. You need to build a system to be able to.
Actually, that's the way the
source code analysis, you need to do it immediately on the source code. You're not building it.
most of them actually build it out when you do the testing.
Yeah, that might be, but they're still just analyzing the code. They're not running anything.
Okay. Everybody has their own different opinion on that. Okay. And then the other problem with injection flaws, it all relies on the individual tester's knowledge. Every tester has their own weak point, has their own strong point. You'll look at some testers; their weak points are wireless. Some are applications are their strong point. Some are networks, and the different things. Like an example I'm trying to talk about. All right, you have an application out there. All right, how many of you went to Black Hat? All right. The reason why I'm bringing this up is in most testing methodologies, it just tests the application. All right. It all depends on the company, this, that, the other thing. When I was going back to consulting methodologies, every consulting company does a test a different way. Some will just do the application itself, okay? Others will do the application and the host. They'll test load balancing, everything just for that host, see if they can hit the app servers, see if they hit the database servers, and then, you just take one step further and actually test the DNS servers, all right? Because if there's a DNS cache poisoning, you can do redirects, all kinds of weird things like that. Malicious file execution. Some examples of malicious file execution were about 2 months ago. Everybody started getting all these emails from CNN, MSNBC, saying, here, read the latest news, click here. You would click there, and guess what? It'd say you have the wrong version of Flash. So if you were to click on upgrade flash, there would be a malicious execution, and your machine would be taken over by a botnet. That would be an example of a malicious execution. And that's something that, whether you're running an app scanner, code scanner, sometimes if you're pen testing, you can tell, but that's not something you'll always find. Indirect file object references. Best part about this is, the ideal way for doing direct object references is source code analysis. It's the best way. It basically builds out a whole map for you for where all the controllable data is within the application. Cross-site request forgeries. App scanners will not find them. Source code scanners do not find them. Pen testing, it all depends on your methodology, your approach, what tools you have planned. Do you use tools? Is everything manual? Are you just using a proxy? Information leakage and improper error handling. Information leakage and improper error handling is huge, okay? Why? Right? Information leakage gives you passive information, like say about the application itself. You're going through your web app, you have your web server headers. Web server headers a lot of times will tell you versions of software on there. All right, that's passive. You learn the exploits that way. You don't even have to, half the times you don't even have to try an exploit, you know it's going to work. Improper error handling can always lead to things like, okay, there could be a possible SQL injection there. All right, from the SQL injection or cross-site scripting. Stuff you'll see a lot in applications, like would be their error pages. All right, some crazy developer came up with this crazy idea that said, you know what, I'm going to put all the text for the error page in the URL string. Okay, so you'll look at these applications, you'll see this long URL string, and you'll say, hey, look at that text, that looks familiar. I'm reading it right here on the page, let's play with it. You'll go in, you'll do an iframe, you'll do whatever you want. Iframes, cross-site scriptings, possible SQL injections, log file corruption, if it's actually logging stuff into the web server. Broken authentication and session management. All right, this is one of the big ones I found out there from doing all different types of testing. And this is where it comes down to what's your testing toolkit. App scanners, they find the minimal authentication problems. They'll find some cookie problems. But they don't find things like different policies. How many times does it take to lock out? Can you do brute force attacks? It doesn't get to look into like the cookie, like what types of encryption are they using in the cookie? What types of encryption are they using in hidden fields? One of the bugs they had in SiteMinder used to just base64 encode your password in a hidden field. Okay, that's something none of these would pick up on. All right, your pen tester would pick up on it most likely, hopefully. If not, I'd give them a reduction in pay because it's something